Welcome back to the Building Belmont podcast. If we haven't met before, my name is Keanu, friend, neighbor, citizen, and also a business owner in this community. Several years ago, over 5 years ago, my wife and I moved to this community and we fell in love with the people, what it had to offer, and the way that it really takes you in. And I wanted to, in some small way, support that effort to connect people, ultimately bringing people together. They don't have to like each other. They don't have to leave as friends, but connecting people. That was the catalyst for this platform. So if you haven't yet, we've interviewed several business owners in the community, got to capture their stories. Go back and listen to some of our episodes. But in this season, right now, leading into the November election, our local leadership landscape has the potential to change drastically, and change not necessarily being a bad thing, but there are 4 city council seats that are technically up for election, and our mayoral seat is up for election, given our former mayor, Charlie Martin, resigned his seat early due to health issues. Thank you for your service, Charlie. But with that being said, we have current city council member that is running for mayor. If they are elected to mayor, their seat has to be filled. There are 3 city council members that their seat is up for re-election. Some of them are running for their seat again. Others are moving on. And we have local leaders that want to step up to the plate to lead. So you see, it's very important to get the community involved so you know that you are represented by your local leadership in the issues that you want to address, and ultimately the community that you want to raise your family or grow your business in. So in this season, we have partnered with other great organizations to host a forum Thursday, October 19th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. We will have a mayoral forum discussion, then a break to meet candidates, followed by a city council forum and discussion. We will have refreshments. This will be hosted at the Pointe Church on Wilkinson in Belmont. So it's a place to connect and understand, get to know more deeply what your candidates are campaigning on, what they feel best represents the community, and to make your voice heard, to be able to connect and understand what is going on or the future of our community. So ultimately, just in the beginning, this platform was about connection. It is still about connection. After the election, we will go back to interviewing and connecting with other great business owners, capturing their stories and getting to connect you with them personally. It's very inefficient for a business owner to meet with 12,000 people to tell their story. So if you're new, please like, subscribe, follow all the things in whatever platform you're seeing this on. But for right now, we're going to focus in on the elections. What we're doing now in advance of the forum is introducing you to each candidate. So all of the candidates for city council and, of course, for Belmont City Mayor have been invited to introduce themselves here. Of course, they've all been invited to the forum Thursday, October 19th. And now I am honored to introduce you to them in a short 10-minute episode so they get to share their story, why they're running, and connect you with them, but also share their information if you want to connect with them personally to understand, or to share your concerns, or to share your ideas or your vision for the community that you represent. Ultimately, all leadership is only a representation of its people in business and government, and we can't do anything about our landscape really at large as a country as much as we can do here locally. You get to meet these candidates, you get to vote for these candidates and get to understand what they're really running on and express your concerns if you have them. So we'll look forward to seeing you Thursday, October 19th. We will be live and live streaming. So if you want to join in person, there's going to be a chance between the forums to actually address or approach each candidate at the same time. We will be live streaming because this is 2023 and there's no reason anything that we're doing can't be live streamed. So we'll be live streaming to you through the Building Belmont YouTube. So subscribe here so you get notified and you're aware when that does come back around. And again, just like you, I am here to connect and grow my family as a citizen, someone that ultimately enjoys connecting people. In anything that I do, my favorite thing is connection. So that is still the purpose here. That will always be the purpose here. And we look forward to connecting you to your future leadership. Enjoy.
Good morning. My name's Peg Argent, and I've been a Gaston County resident for 27 years now. I've lived in Belmont the entire time in the same house on Central Avenue. I'm running for city council because I've been in local government for the last 25 years, up until I retired from Gaston County. I worked for the Department of Health and Human Services, working from my way as a social worker up to a program manager in adult and aging services. I have a passion for working with people. people are what we're all about. And in order to continue the service that I've done my entire career, after I retired, I felt like I needed to give back to the community where I work, where I live. Um, so I think my dedication to the community has been proven. I've not been able to be on Belmont City Council boards because that was opposed to by my Gaston County experiences. But I did have opportunities working on the Transportation Advisory Board and the Council on Aging and many, many other advocacy boards through my professional experience. Um, right now, I feel that Belmont is a booming, vibrant community and has so many wonderful things going for it. And I want to make sure that my grandchildren and their children after that have a Belmont that they're proud of and that is inheritable. If we continue to develop without thought behind it, if we continue to stay stagnant on topics that we just back and forth between the city council and the staff and the stakeholders, we're not going to have any forward momentum. So I feel that it's important that the city council changes, that we change the focus of how we do business. Business means getting things done. And so on my campaign signs, you'll see a phrase that says, let's get it done. We need to get the work done. So many things have sat around and been batted back and forth, and nothing happens. For example, the pedestrian plan has not been updated since 2009, but yet we have an emergency meeting after the little boy Amir gets hit by a car on Keener Boulevard. That's responsive. That is not the type of business that I think the city council should be doing. So, since I have managed large state and federal budgets, since I have managed private grants, since I have led staff as a supervisor of supervisors, I feel like I have the HR skills, I have the finance skills, and I have the people skills that make me a fit for what Belmont needs now. We need a voice of the people, and I know how to engage people. I know how to bring people to the table, and I know how to contribute to a city that has many wants and needs, but all of them really want the same thing, which is a wonderful place for their family to live.
Peg, you have a very specific experience, so I wanted to ask you about that. Working in the Department of Health for the county, I would assume then you've had to navigate the dynamics of elected officials as well as staff members. How does that play into how you would operate as a council person?
Oh, that's a tremendous training ground for me. That has been a training ground for me. I had to work to make sure that the ideas and the programs that I was developing would be supported by first the DHHS board and then by the county commissioners and the citizens. And so I've had experience learning how to make a project work that meets the needs of our commissioners, our boards, recipients of the service. And I think those are the things that translate to what Belmont needs right now.
Thank you. I appreciate, again, having that unique experience. And I see every candidate does have a very, obviously, a very specific background, but there's a great diversity and experience that I think lends itself well to leading on the city council level. A pedestrian plan, for those that don't know what that is or why it's important, since you touched on it, can you touch on what a pedestrian plan is, maybe why it hasn't been discussed since 2009? And of course, other than the accident, thinking from a proactive mindset rather than a reactive mindset, why is that so important to the town?
So a pedestrian plan is just that. It's a plan that says this is kind of how we want our city to be walkable. And right now, Belmont has a lot of walkable areas. Living on Central Avenue myself, starting at 5 in the morning, there are so many people walking up and down our street for exercise. I can walk to the downtown area and I can walk there relatively safely, except for maybe crossing over Park Street, Keener Boulevard, when where that meets with Central, because there's not a crosswalk there. So a pedestrian plan determines what does the city need to do to continue to improve walkability and safety. An example of one of the things that was recently done was on Catawba Street, where they did put a crosswalk, and that's been widely received and widely promoted on social media. Everybody's excited to be able to cross that street without taking their life in their hands, right there at Park Street United Methodist. But why wasn't it done since 2009? Can't explain that. I wasn't on the city council, but that's a awfully long time when you see our population increasing and increasing and increasing, and our schools getting more and more students, to not have done that. So now I've been told, oh, well, it's ready to be rolled out in 2024, January. But that still doesn't excuse the fact that it was from 2009. And so we need to continue to make plans for making Belmont even more walkable, safely walkable, making it more bicycle friendly for folks that want to do that. This will help us, decrease our carbon footprint if we're not hopping in our car every time you need to walk down to Harris Teeter or go to one of the wonderful restaurants or shops that we have in downtown Belmont. If we could hop on our bike or walk, that would be wonderful. But we don't always have that. It's not always a safe option. To that point, I also think we can increase some of we don't have any real public transportation in Belmont. And I'm hoping that we see some public type transportation in the near future. But why it hasn't been done in 2009, I think that goes to the fact that sometimes things get batted around, and what might be a priority this week after something happened is not going to be a priority in 2 months when that incident becomes a back burner issue. I don't like to see that happen. I'm the kind of person who says, let's get it done. If it rose to the forefront today, it's important tomorrow. It's important next week. Let's not just back burner it. That's my philosophy on that.
Well, I already have so many questions and I want to continue to getting into conversation, but thank you for taking some time to introduce yourself this morning. Of course, October 19th, Thursday, October 19th, we'll have our candidate forum and we'll have plenty of time to discuss then. And I'm looking forward to seeing you there, as well as promoting to those that have tuned in to get to meet Peg. Of course, you are approachable. She will have conversations with you, as will all the candidates in the community. Before I let you go from this introduction, Peg, how can people best get introduced to you or get information on your campaign specifically?
Well, right now, I'm on Facebook at Peg for Belmont, the word FOR, Peg for Belmont at Gmail. My phone number is available to everybody. It's 704-747-9367. You can call or text. And I also have email, which is also Peg for Belmont. That's Peg for Belmont at Gmail. And Facebook is Peg for Belmont City Council. So I'm available through those 3 avenues very easily. And you can knock on my door. I'm right on the corner. Everybody knows where I live.
Well, thank you, Peg, again, for taking the time to introduce yourself. If you want to get to know Peg or get more information on her campaign specifically or talk about these topics, of course, she was generous to share her direct information there. And if you want to meet Peg in person, of course, she's open to that. We'll see you October 19th, Thursday, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. We'll be having a forum with the candidates that have agreed to have that conversation. And Peg, thank you for being one of them and taking the time today. And of course, this is public service. So thank you for being willing to step up to the plate for public service. It's a thankless role, but I'm thankful that you've decided to step up to that calling. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.